Wait. We gotta do the reveal.
The reveal.
Movie so cheesy it requires a mustache to review it properly.
So, welcome to episode 6 of Tony Mike Watch the World Burn. This episode, we'll be viewing Green Slime. Yes. Uh, there's so much to talk about this movie, so we're just gonna try to tear through this as fast as possible. A lot going on here. So Green Slime, and known in Japan as Gamma 3 Great Space War, is a 1968 science fiction film directed by Kinji Fukasaku? Kinji Fukasaku.
I'm sure we butchered it, but let's just roll with it.
So, and Kinji is known for actually quite a few movies. He goes back to 1961. He directed such fine films as Battle Royale 1 and 2. He directed the Japanese sequences for Tora Tora Tora. And then one of our cabin movies that he watched, Messages from Space. That shit-tastic film.
I was kind of surprised when I looked through his filmography because I was expecting a lot of like Toei, Godzilla, type
Yes.
monster movies where it's like a lot of elaborate models and somebody in a big rubber costume just tearing ass through the set and destroying everything they can. But I was actually like, he did a lot of crime movies and a lot of Japanese mob movies. I was really kind of surprised when I saw Tora 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 on the list. That was not at all the kind of films that I was expecting this guy to have directed. So, um, it looks like this guy just he took any job that he was the Michael Caine of movie directors. There was never a script that he would say no to. When he needed to turn it up to 11, he was all there. But other than that, hey, as long as the check cleared and you got a script, he is good to go. So,
You say that, but as you and I both know, Battle Royale is a fantastic movie. It's a
great
great,
movie.
great movie, and of course, Tora Tora Tora, is a classic as well. Message from Space, not so much, but it has its charm. It's a Japanese Star Wars of
Yeah.
sorts
Um,
ish. I don't know, space opera for sure.
here is a fun fact concerning Green Slime. This is the very first movie that they did on MST3K back when it was a local TV show.
No kidding.
Yes, and it was so early in production for MST3K. There was no Tom Servo. It was just Bot, and Bot would speak in bleeps and blorps, and then Crow would translate what he said.
Oh,
That's
no, that's interesting.
yeah. It was like one of the first three KMUA or whatever TV station that it was originally aired on. But yeah, it was one of the original episodes, if not the original episode. Let me rephrase that. It was the original episode of MST3K. So this is kind of where this movie gets his super cheesy street cred from.
So just going on, it was produced by Walter Manley and Ivan Rayner, who is also the writer for the movie. So those two produced the Gamma One series. Consisted of 4 movies: Wild Wild Planet, War of the Planets, War Between the Planets, and Snow Devils. So you had mentioned this briefly, that this is going to be the 5th entry into the series. You want to dive deeper into that one?
Originally, this was going to be shot and directed by a Italian director. It was going to be done in partnership with a Italian studio. through MGM, and that fell through somehow. Either the director got tied up with another project. I'm not sure what the exacts are on that one. But then they decided to take it and shop it to Japan, which again at the time, a lot of films were being done by an American studio would write the script and they would finance it, and then they would basically farm it out to a foreign studio, and they would kind of do this so that they could get a bit more international box office. They were basically trying to increase the return for films, but it also got a lot of actors that were Caucasian in foreign countries, especially Japan, a lot of acting gigs that they probably never would have had otherwise.
We had three writers in this one, written by William Finger, also known as Bill Finger, the Bill Finger that wrote Batman from the 40s to the 60s. Tom Rowe, who wrote The Aristocrats. Let's see, Charles Sinclair, who wrote episodes for the Batman show in the 60s. And another MST3K classic, Track of the Moon Beast.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
that's nice. That's nice.
Yes.
So
Yes.
again, a lot of geek cred in this movie.
Surprisingly much. And the thing is that like Bob Kane takes all the credit for having created Batman, but Bill Finger is the reason that Batman is the Batman that we know.
Mhm.
Like if you go back and look at the original designs for the costume and like just the kind of character that Bob Kane was trying to create with Batman was super cheesy, super silly. It would never have lasted as long as it did. And I mean, remember that Batman was created by taking a flying suit designed by Leonardo da Vinci and drawing it on Superman. Like legitimately, that's how they created the Batman character. And even more interesting is that there were multiple characters back in the late 30s, early 40s that were known as the Bat. So and there was there was a vigilante, there was a detective. So it's kind of interesting, like how Batman became the Batman. But I don't want to get too far off the beaten path on this one. That is definitely something we're gonna have to do in a later episode when we've run out of bad movies.
Yeah.
So sometime
We'll
in
never run out of bad movies. Never.
sometime when we're in our 80s or something, we'll figure that one out. But yeah, if you think Bob Kane created Batman, you don't know shit about Batman. But yeah, so it's
You hang around the Frog Brothers too much.
exactly. Well, no, no.
Anyway.
I went to their comic book store and I impressed the hell out of them, and then they talked me into killing my brother. It was a long weekend. So
It happens. It was in Santa Carla, so a whole different time
I'm
of
on
my
the
life.
ceiling. What am I supposed to do? Get him down? I mean, I hit him with a broom.
So that's how, next time I sharpened the point and made sure it counted. So so the movie was co-produced with MGM and Toei, which will make sense why when you're looking at it, this film, you think of rubber suits and giant robots and all that stuff. Well, they did do all that stuff. Not Godzilla, because that's Toho, of course, but they did Invasion of the Neptune Men,
Mhm.
sci-fi classic. Voyage into Space, also known as Johnny Sokko, the giant robot with the Egyptian-looking head thing. Uh, Again, Message from Space, which I already mentioned, and the Power Rangers. Yes,
Really?
yes.
The original version of it before Saban got a hold of it and cut it with white teenagers over here?
Every iteration of the Power Rangers is done by this
Wow.
company. Not only that, where the real cred comes in on top of that is in their animation department. Devilman, Matt Singer Z, Cyborg 009, Transformers, yes, Transformers,
Wow.
Dragon Ball, the whole Dragon Ball series, Z, Turbo, GT, all that junk, Sailor Moon, Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece, and that's just like the ones that I know. There's like a monster list.
That, again, the amount of stress. But what's even funnier is that a year before this, or did this is 68 or 69?
68.
Okay, because I was thinking it was 69 for some reason, but I'm thinking like think about this. 2001 came out this year,
Mm-hmm.
the same year as this, and MGM was involved. They were the people that bankrolled 2001. Now, granted, that one took forever for Kubrick to actually make, but I'm sure it has to do with the space race and putting men on the moon and all of that. But man, MGM was banking hard on sci-fi. They really really were, and I think that really is reflected in the portrayals of a lot of the characters that we get in this movie. So I was gonna say, are we ready to talk cast? Or you?
I got one more thing to point out. The score. The original score was done by, I'm going to butcher this name, sorry. Uh, Tashiaki Tashuma. But when it came to the States, it was rescored by Charles Fox, who did the song Green Slime, but is also known for doing scores for European Vacation, 9 to 5, Barbarella, the TV show Love Boat, Love American Style, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, and more. I mean, again, the credit for this movie goes way so deep, but yet it's so disappointing.
I was gonna say this is one of those rare examples that if it had been a worse movie, it would have been a better movie.
Yes.
So as strange as that may sound, but the fact is that you could tell every dime that they spent on this film is on screen. Like
Yes.
legitimately, nobody is being hammy. Nobody is a bad actor. Nobody it's doesn't even have a bad script. And before we get too deep into this, I just want to say I would love to know if Dan O'Bannon, who wrote Alien, was a fan of this movie, because this movie follows all the same beats of the original Alien film. It's just
Huh.
that in that movie,
It does kind of, yeah. Yeah.
it's shot as a gothic horror, and it is played just a tiny bit straighter with a much smaller crew. So
Yeah.
I'm curious about that one.
Well, this thing is played 100% straight,
Yes.
which I wasn't expecting, especially we was written from the guy who wrote 60s Batman. You
So
know, but anyways, so let's dive
tell us
into the
about the
cast real
cast.
quick because I'm just going to cover the three main actors. Uh, Robert Horton as Commander Jack Rankin, who was also in. He did a lot of TV stuff. Alfred Hitchcock Presents, multiple episodes of that, multiple episodes of As the World Turns, and multiple episodes of Murder She Wrote. Uh, Luciana Paluzzi as Dr. Lisa Benson, your fine Italian actress. She was also in her probably most notable outside of this would as Fiona Velope in Thunderball. She was the assassin. Yeah, she looked pretty hot in there. And Richard Jekyll as Commander Vince Elliott. He has actually the most credit out of anybody here. He was in The Sands of Iwo Jima, The Dirty Dozen, and multiple years on Baywatch. Yeah.
I don't know if being on Baywatch for multiple years gives you any kind of cred, but sure, let's. He got a steady paycheck out of the deal.
He did get the same
I'm
paycheck
just
out,
saying.
but hey, Sands of Iwo Jima was a classic, and so was what was the other one? The Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, no,
Classic.
I don't disagree. And that also kind of informs the kind of roles that he plays, what he's kind of famous for.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's not playing against type here. He's most
No,
definitely.
absolutely not. No.
Most definitely, he's between here and here on the acting scale.
So
So,
we're ready to dive into the plot.
uh, yeah, you know what? It's the thing is, like, there's a lot of stuff that happens, but at the same time, not a lot of stuff happens, and I can't explain it better than that, because it starts off and there's an asteroid and it's coming directly for Earth, and it looks like a giant paper mache meatball. It's weird and it's red, and I didn't realize this, but like in the 1960s, outer space was purple. It wasn't black. But yeah, and so we have this super sweet. We have we have Commander. Oh, I can't even remember his name. We have
Hang on. It is Commander Jack Rankin.
All right, Jack Rankin. All right, I can remember Jack Rankin and and Jack Rankin. No, Jack Jack Rankin. He's the captain of the space station, the Gamma 3, right?
No, he's not. He's not the captain. He's
Okay.
actually a guy. He was actually getting ready to retire, but once they found out the meteor flora, which was a weird name for a meteor, flora, but whatever. So when they find out the meteor is coming towards Earth, there's only one man who can help us, and that's retired dude or soon to be retired Commander Jack Rankin.
Oh. Ah. So we got Jack Rankin, and then we got the actual commander of the station. I guess the captain of the station would technically be his rank, and he was what, Max Jambo was his name or some shit like
Vince
that.
Elliott.
Max Jambo. All right. So Jack Reardon, he gets told that he's got to go there and he's got to take over. And here's the weird part. Like they're explaining like these two guys are supposed to be best friends.
But they had a falling out.
Yes, Jack Reardon is the biggest asshole of a best friend. No, Reardon.
Just call him Jack. Just call him Commander Jack.
Look, Commander Jack is a giant sack.
Yes.
Of shit, and that's what I got to say. He's
a
he's a scumbag, and he's the hero of the movie, which is kind of like, if you need to know how much society has changed between then and now, the fact that anybody's holding this guy up is like, oh, be like Jack, fuck Jack, all right. So that's what I got to say about that. So he goes to Max Jambo's space station, and he's talking.
Hang on. It's Commander Vince Elliott.
Yeah, like I said, Max Jambo, Max Jambo space station, and you know, he's talking shit, and like, you know, well, Max isn't a good officer. You don't risk 10 men lives to save the life of one. And I'm thinking, if you're that one, that's exactly what you want. I'm just throwing that out. What happened to we don't leave any men behind? Apparently, Cat and Jack, Commander Jack, he don't play that shit. Oh, God, we're gonna miss him. I'll write a letter to his wife. I've got it all saved on my laptop. I'll just sign it and pencil her name in at the top. Sorry, Mrs. Smith. Leroy was a great soldier. We're gonna miss him a lot. And he's got like, it's a Mad Libs thing where he just fills in like, we're gonna remember how he used to play cards on Saturdays, and then our deepest condolences, Commander Jack. Drop that in the mail for me. so anyway, so he's talking shit about Captain Max Jambo and how like he won't make the hard decisions, and he's not a very good commanding officer, and so he's been in charge. And the beginning of the movie starts off, it's very much the plot from Armageddon. They're gonna get a group of space soldiers together, astronauts, and they're gonna take a couple of golf carts, and they're gonna go to the asteroid that's made out of paper mache and covered with finely ground coffee, and they are going to drill deep into the surface and blow the asteroid up so that it does not impact the Earth.
They're going to drill real deep. They drill about 18 inches deep. and they don't even put anything in the fucking hole. They take the box out, set it down. They drill a hole for nothing. They put nothing in the hole.
Look, all I can tell you is that they couldn't afford the long drill bits, and really, those golf carts aren't made to carry that kind of weight. You can't damage the Gamma 3 golf cart fleet. I mean, they're gonna need it later in the movie.
Well, no, they don't, because they fucking leave the motherfuckers there.
Look, trust me, that's just for the camera. They got that shit back, all right? They blew the paper mache asteroid up, and while they were floating through space, someone was all like, "There's our golf carts, Bob," and they went out and got them in their super sweet spaceship. So Captain or Commander Jack and Captain Max Jambo, They break up. They send out two teams. They drill holes about this the asteroid. They plant the bombs and like they've got to get out or get off the asteroid. They only got 3 minutes to clear it. It's vitally important. 3 minutes.
Yeah, I love how the commander from Earth is like your typical fucking fast food restaurant manager.
Oh,
So hey guys, sorry to break this to you, but you know how it's gonna give you like 4 hours. Well, now you have like 15 minutes to get the fuck out of there. I'm sorry, what's his name had to call in, so you had to come in, cover his shift, and then now you're gonna die on this meteor.
look, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Right?
so, 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 Commander Jack and Max Jambo, they get on, they get the crew, they get like some green shit on them, and they don't know what it is, and it's growing.
Hang on. The stupid scientist guy is going around trying to get different samples of the green slime. So he gets a sample of the green slime. He's want to take it back, but they notice like on their super sweet golf carts to get covered by the green slime, so they can't drive them because they don't know. But at that time, the green slime is feeding off the energy that's in the golf carts. So everybody run back to the ship. And then the doctor's like, oh, look at that guy, I got some green slime. And then fucking Captain Jack's like, fuck that green slime, and throws him down the fucking ground. And then splatters on the pants of one of the guys. You don't know who it is, but it's one of them. So
my favorite thing is they get on the rocket ship to escape before their 3 minutes are up. Yeah. And you watch the footage because like everybody that's in there, they're like, we're bowling 10 G's. Super strained looks on their faces. And except for Commander Jack. And Commander Jack, we gotta go faster. We're going as fast as we can. And he gets in there and he pushes ahead. Somehow he can walk. He's so fucking hard that G's don't mean shit to Captain Jack. Max Jambo is back there with a contorted face like a bitch. But Commander Jack, he's got shit to do. So he reaches down and he just walks up and he pushes that shit forward and he flies to the back of the ship. And he lands on his arm. Ugh, but it's a good thing because it hit him square in the fucking bicep. And he just soaks their shit up. and naturally they escape because you can't just go destroying Commander Jack and Max Jambo. It's not going to happen. No. It's not going to happen. So they escape the exploding asteroid, and they get back to the space station, and they are clapping, and everybody's there. They're like, woo! And I love this. Like the doctor lady, she just like, breaks quarantine. Very. Oh, I just came in to see how wonderful. Oh, quarantine. Oh, I guess I did. Well, I'm gonna go out here with all these other people. I'm sure this will be fun. So they send the astronauts into the red quarantine thing, and they flash some red lights on them. And well, shit. I mean, sure that works. Why not? Yeah. And no time, no nothing, no. Hey, let's test their blood or nope. Just red light. Kick it on, kick it off. You're good, man. It's like a light switch rave in there. So now we go from that to they're immediately celebrating, and they're in the bar, and I have to admit, when they showed the people in the background dancing, I'm rolling. There's this couple, and they're like, you can tell the direction was like, dance like it's the future, and they're all.
They're voguing.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. I was rolling so hard. So you got that going on, and then in the foreground, you have Jack, Commander Jack. He's got to get Nurse Betty. I'm sorry, Dr. Betty. And
Dr. Lisa Benson.
Yes, yeah, sure, yeah, Lisa. Why not? Yeah, he's got to talk to Lisa, and he's got to be all like, hey, Lisa, you know you don't love him. He's not a bad officer. He's not cut out for command. He's no good. He's no good, and you know you don't love him. It's me that you want to be with, cause I'm fucking Commander Jack. God damn it.
And that's exactly how that shit comes off. I mean, there's no bullshit about it. I mean, he is so cocksure. Like, I'm the fucking cock of the walk of this fucking space station. You know,
they're sitting there and like he's all, can I dance with your fiance? And he like walks over onto the dance floor with her to do some future dancing, and then like they like Max Jambo is back at the table. He's like poured himself some champagne because it's a party, and he's back there, and like this just it's so thick. It's so like bullshit. Like, look at how virile and commanding I am, and look at, you're gonna marry that fucking pussy. And I'm watching this and I'm just like thinking, you're supposed to be the good guy. You are as douchey gets. Like there's nothing admirable about you. And the fact that you're like they just announced that they're getting married and your response is, you still love me, baby.
yeah.
It's just like, it's gut wrenching. And so they get done with future dancing and their conversation on the dance floor, and the alarm goes off. Apparently, like one of the maintenance dudes, he came across some green slime that's no longer green slime. It's now like grown into a full Red Lobster CrabFest meal that's attached to him, and so
Seafood fest. All you can eat, for $19.99. Garlic biscuits are included.
I'm just saying, you know, so damn it, you threw me off. So CrabFest attacks the maintenance guy, and the alarm goes off immediately, and so like stay here, we're going to go, just stay here. Commander Jack and Max Jambo are going to go see what all the ruckus is about. And so they go out and they find the poor maintenance guy that has been attacked by, CrabFest. And he's been like charred. He's all like, bloody and scarry and kind of, definitely overcooked. That's
I like the look of that though. I like the look they did with the, because they had like the suit was all like torn and burnt, and you can see like where the burn skin, like the skin on stuff. It looked great. It looked really really good. The victims looked like they got scorched.
Yeah, makeup effect wise, it is not bad. And then if I'm not, and then there's like another attack that happens like right after that because green slime gets everywhere.
Yes.
And so there's another attack, and they run down there, and when they run down there, they actually see the creature culprit that is responsible for the attack. And that's when shit just starts to go off the rails at this point. So they rush out, and there's like, I don't know, it's like laying on the ground, and it's tentacly, and it's weird. It's really weird. And here's the funny thing about it. If it had been dramatically lit, if it had been, they've done something with it other than like shoot it under like bright neon lights, it probably would have been really creepy and kind of gross and scary looking. But because it's, shot really well lit, it's like, yeah, sweet. It's like a bag of garbage laying next to the reactor, because that's the thing that's going on there, is that it's actually next to the reactor and it's soaking up the energy. So first the doctor, he comes up, he's like, we got to try and capture it alive, and of course, Commander Jack, he ain't having none of that. She's like, we got to kill it. And it's like, well, then Max Jambo is all like, no, we should try to take it alive. The scientist is right. This is our first encounter with an alien life form, and Commander Jack's first response is, yep, let's swap that shit. So,
well, it turns out Captain Jack would have been right in the long run though. So, but anyways,
maybe. I mean, it's not like they ever tried to communicate with any of them. It could have been an intelligent sentient being that didn't register that human beings were sentient. So they're like, oh, they're attacking us. We got to fight back. What do we fight with? I don't know, sparklers. So, well, they try to capture it. They shoot it with the gas guns, and then they try to like shoot a net over top of it. And again, if it had been dramatically lit, it could have been really cool looking. But yeah, that shit didn't play. And then CrabFest starts slinging its sparkler crab, pinchers all over the place, and oh, it's too dangerous. And one of the soldiers gets knocked off, and that's a great shot. Actually, he like goes for the full fall, and he hits
Yeah.
the ground, and you see the blood go fly out, and it's like that was almost cool enough to redeem some of this, almost. But then naturally, that's when Commander Jack, well, I'm still on the station and the mission isn't over with because that thing is there. So I'm in command and we're going to kill it. And he grabs a gun and he starts shooting it, which really at the end of the day, Commander Jack is the reason that shit went sideways on this one. Because if he hadn't like lit that thing up and gotten Palmolive dishwashing liquid and green paint everywhere, then there wouldn't have been a bunch of them. But
Hey, but Palmolive is soft on the hands, man. You can soak your fingernails in that shit.
I know, right? You can, but the problem with that is that when you expose it to energy, then you've got a bunch of alien monsters that come out. They don't show that in the Palmolive commercials. No, you got to put that shit through the garbage disposal. so
That's where they went wrong. They should just shove the fucking thing down the garbage disposal and it would have been over.
I'm trying to figure out why like it didn't occur to anybody to like get it to an airlock, throw it out into space.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you're on a space station, but then they did have a sweet ass party going on, you
They
know.
did.
And
Yeah.
and I mean like the whole time that all this is going on, I keep waiting for Commander Jack to walk up to Max Jambo and be all, smell this finger. So they shoot the alien monster up, and the doctor scientist sees the green shit that's all over the floor, and he gets down there, and I love this. He doesn't like get like a pipette or anything like that. No, he gets down there with a petri dish and a pair of tweezers to get a liquid sample, and he's trying to pick it up with tweezers. It's like, dude, that's not how liquids work. but he somehow manages to get a sample of it in the petri dish, and he goes to his lab, and I don't know, at some point he decided that like exposing it to energy was cool. um I don't know how he arrived at that. It's like, hey, I got a tissue sample. Well, what are you gonna do with it? Look at it under a microscope? No, I'm gonna shock it. Fuck it. you
Shoot
know
with laser. See what happens.
Make a sauce out of this. so so naturally he has to get Commander Jack and Max Jambo and show them that he has discovered that if you expose this green goo to electricity, that it makes even more green goo. So I mean, really, they've got a renewable food source for all of humanity. All you need is a solar panel, and you could have CrabFest in space.
Yeah. Or Soylent Green.
I,
That's not made of people.
and it's really fucking green. So so at no point does it occur to them that this green crap is going to grow up into more crab monsters. But sure, let's go with that. I'm a little like I watched it twice now, and I'm like trying to remember like what happens after the lab scene, and I'm drawing a blank. I just remember like there's a bunch of people in the hospital rooms because the party got crashed, and I was laughing. Everybody has a head bandage. Apparently, there was a lot of head trauma going on, and I don't know what it was, but apparently that's like short. Like you couldn't do a cast or like somebody with like a leg or stitches. No, everybody got hit in the head with something. I don't know what, but they all have head bandages on. And then like the alien monster comes into the infirmary, and this is where they discover like when shooting it that it's leaking green shit, and that green shit is like making more of these monsters. So then they decide that they're going to ward it off by using a hospital bed. Sure, why not? We're gonna take a bed and push it into a closet and close the door. Problem solved. it's yeah. At some point they wrote it, they learned those lines, they filmed it, they edited it, and at some point someone was like, yeah, that's good. Let's go with that. Let's leave that in there like that. So that all happens. What the hell happens next, Mike? Fill me up.
I remember at some point though. I think it gets out of the closet and is basically kind of roaming through like the infrastructure of the space station.
Okay.
And then at some point, they figure out, well, we can lure these things with lights. We'll shut everything down, and the only real energy will be coming from the lights. And then we'll lead them to the certain area in the space station. We'll trap them in there, and they're kind of successful at it. But then the doctor gets caught behind one of the fucking doors, and then
there's a fucking idiot.
the doctor is a fucking idiot. You know what? Here's the thing. Captain Jambo, fuck, whatever fuck you want to call him, Vince, is a fucking moron too. Because you know what? We need to save this fucking dude, who we know is already probably fucking dead anyway. So we're gonna open up the damn door, and sure enough, open the door. Here's the fucking doctor. He's fucking toast. He falls flat.
Actually,
no, that's what happens. What? Okay, go ahead.
Jambo went to the door and told Commander Jack, "Hey, if you're gonna stop me, you're gonna have to shoot me."
Right.
And Commander Jack was just waiting for an excuse. Let's get down. Let's dissect that scene, shall we? Commander Jack was just all like, "Oh, all right, I'm gonna light you up." Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Boom. Hey, Lisa, are you single now? It wasn't until Lisa like stepped forward and you'll have to shoot me too. and actually, she's the one that opened the door. I thought she was the one that actually hit the button. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. Either way, the door's gonna be open thanks to fucking Vince, and so the door gets open. Lucky for him, there isn't too much that really happens except for fucking a bunch of people get injured again. So Vince puts people in danger again for a guy that's already going to be dead, which is fucking stupid. And then so they seal the door. Okay, hang on. So they seal the door, so they effectively trap him again. But yet now in that new section where the monsters are trapped are explosives and flammable shit. And fucking thanks to Vince and his dumbass fucking shit, he blows up half the fucking station. Literally half the station fucking blows up because of him.
One ball. Just one ball. Look.
No. The one ball and the ring surrounding it, which is effectively half the station. So he probably killed several hundred people to save a doctor. I'm as much as you hate Captain Jack, I'm side with Captain Jack on this enough. Captain Jack is a douche, no doubt about it, hands down. He's a total tool, but Vince is a dumb fuck.
Max Jambo is a humanitarian and a hero and an officer and a gentleman. I'm just saying.
No, and fuck you. He's a fucking retard.
Dr. Lisa knows what time it is. She was on the side of goodness and saving people. Even if you lose 10, it's
1,000. By bump the station.
They decide they gotta evacuate the station, and what was it? They're gonna communicate with ground control, and ground control is gonna guide the station because they've discovered that if you burn the creatures, it actually kills them. They don't get back up from that one, and that's because the explosion that Max Jambo helped arrange. They figured out. They got the clue that led them to the ultimate solution for taking care of the green slime CrabFest.
Don't give Max Jambo any fucking credit. He does not deserve a lick of it.
I'm just saying, if he hadn't accidentally blown up a good chunk of the station, we would have never discovered that fire stops creatures that are all about soaking up the electricity. So, Max Jambo is a hero when it's all done.
No.
So they decide that they're going to do that, but then something's going on, and they can't get control of the station from ground control. So they decide that somebody's going to have to stay behind and pilot the station in so that they can burn it up in the atmosphere, and hopefully that will burn up all of the green slime monsters.
And what's this going to be?
It's going to be Max Jambo.
And Captain Jack.
No. Commander Jack says he's going to stay behind. But Max Jambo is like, you can't get rid of me, Max Jambo style. So ultimately, they get everybody else off the station, and Commander Jack and Max Jambo, I don't know. I mean, this was everything. They needed a steering wheel so that I knew that they were steering the station. That really would have sold that whole scene to me. Yeah. So they're steering the station, and it's very cheesy and kind of awesome at the same time. And naturally, everybody's like, oh, I hope they get out. And I love this. Max Jambo gets like, he gets hit and like he's dying, but Commander Jack can't leave him behind. But then they jump out of the space station,
Yeah,
and I love it. It is one of the like greatest shots in cinema history. The little tumbling bodies flying through space. I love everything about that shot.
that
And
was
then
cool.
they get picked up, uh, uh, and they fly back, and then Commander Jack is all like, "Hey Lisa, I understand you're single now. It's a good thing you didn't marry Max Jambo here, because dead men aren't very fun to date." So and then they show the space station fly into the atmosphere and then explode, and and that's the movie. That's that. It's problem solved. I mean, the only thing that was really missing was like Dr. Lisa and Commander Jack uh, having sex with a picture of Max Jambo on the nightstand, and she reaches over to put the picture down, and Commander Jack is all like, "No, no, no,
Put it
Max
back
likes to
up.
watch." so, so I mean, if it could have been a cinematic classic if they just included that little bit of footage, but they didn't. So we get this. But they close out strong. They got the sweet green slime music playing again, and it's wonderful. It's amazing. But I don't know. That's the plot of the movie. There's not much to it, but it's there. But here's the thing. I don't want to call this a bad movie. I mean, we're making a hell of a lot of fun of it, but the people that made this movie, they genuinely did not set up to make a campy movie or a bad movie, and it's not done for laughs. It's not done for giggles. It's got to, by today's standards, production values are pretty shit-tastic, but back then, this was what science fiction kind of looked like, especially if it was coming out of Japan. They had the model makers, and they got some cool looking spaceship designs. They've got a cast that's playing it all straight. They bought costumes, and everybody looks the same. And there was some real effort that was put into this film.
No, it looked very much of a Japanese sci-fi film at the time. It'd be very home next to any Godzilla flick or anything like that. I mean,
Absolutely.
like you said, it's just how it was. It's just how they were shot, how they looked, how they sounded. Like the sounds of the monsters sounded just like any of the giant monsters you hear on Godzilla.
You know
The
what they
weird,
reminded me of? They reminded me of Johnny Quest, that episode with the ghost that was invisible, that they threw the paintballs at, and so it was like stalking bandit on the beach. That every time I heard the green slime monsters, I was like going, "Oh, that sounds an awful lot like the Johnny Quest ones," and it also only had one giant eyeball. It's
I like
possible.
the model work. The model work looked really cool, especially the beginning shot where they had the all the buildings, and then they had the little tiny cars on the little track driving along. I love that little detail. It's so cool looking. And I also like the ship design too. How the ship had like fucking tank treads on the back of it for
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
reason, you
I
know?
love that. It was just
Yeah, it's such an interesting little
like
detail.
that.
That's what I love the most about like old school sci-fi is like the originality, creativity with the way the ships and the craft looked. It was
It's
pretty neat.
it's it's very Japanese. That's all I can say. It is most definitely, it is straight out of that whole time period. But here's the thing though. If you look at this film and you look at the plot beats of it, I mean, it is exactly Alien. And Kane goes out and gets the alien on him. Well, it's this instance, it's green slime. It's not a face hugger. But other than that, they get back. The alien makes itself known. It kills a crew member right off the bat. It's they're literally both have the trying to force the alien into a section of the ship with alien. They're using a motion tracker, and they're trying to close off sections of the ship to drive it to where they can push it out an airlock. This one, same sort of thing. They're trying to lure it. The I mean, the only real big difference, I guess, this is more like Aliens than Alien, because they're reproducing like crazy
Yeah.
all over this thing. but it legitimately has the exact same plot beats. And then at the end of the day, they wind up destroying the space station. Well, at the end of Alien, they destroy the ship to try and get rid of it. And so, um, I'm part of me kind of has some respect for this film in the hands of I don't want to say a better team of people. It just if it had had more of a vision to it, if it had had a better cinematographer, but at the same time, it's like the '70s hit and movies weren't making money like they used to, so that's when they like started getting really experimental with how you make movies. But this is most definitely the product of the studio system from back in the day.
Well, the product of the Japanese studio system. If this was a legit American production through and through, it would have been a completely different film. It would have been a completely different look, completely different feel. It would have been a completely different movie. Here's the other thing too. So it was played completely straight. I think if they would have took that camp approach to it, your typical Batman stuff that was out at that time already anyway. Because I'll tell you what, at the beginning where they have the whole green slime theme, I thought, okay, this is the tone. It's not going to take itself seriously. It's going to be camp. It's going to be kind of played for laughs, and we did not get that
No,
at all, at all. I think just making a few little changes would have improved it. If they would have played a little more for laughs, if they would have had the green slime theme playing out where they're battling out the aliens, would have been
yeah.
awesome.
Well, it's not just that. The thing I thought was most distracting about this movie, and this is, I think, really to the film's detriment, is all the sounds. It was such a quiet movie. There was no
Very.
ambient space. There was no ambient spaceship noises. There was like when the spaceships were flying by, it sounded like a bottle rocket had been lit and just flew by you. The aliens, they didn't sound very alien. They made like one noise, and even when there's 50 of them in front of you, at no point did it sound like multiple voices. It always just sounded like one or two of them were
Yeah.
there. The laser guns, they sounded like turning on a flashlight or a dentist drill, something. It was like if somebody had spent some time and like literally just amped up that soundtrack, that by itself would have made this movie infinitely more memorable.
That's Commander Elliot. That's Commander Elliot.
Well, I'm not saying that the music was bad or anything like that, but it was such
Well,
a
there's a complete lack of music in a lot of stuff.
oh yeah.
I mean, what little music was there was like the occasional little guitar bend and slide, and a couple of little sound effects tossed in here and there. I mean, it was minimal. I
Just
mean,
to say the least. Yeah, yeah. And the scenes that wanted to build tension, especially when they were like trying to, get the aliens, lure them in, get them all together, and get them out of the ship. All that stuff, it's shot well enough, but it's you're right. There's literally there is no tension because there's no music, there's no sound effects, there's no nothing going on there. So I mean that middle section of the film, rather than it coming off as tense and interesting, it's just quiet and boring.
yeah.
And that's why like we're discussing the plot of the film. And I'm like, going, what the hell happened there? It's like nothing remarkable happened there, and I can't even think back to like anything interesting, like sound wise or visually. I get what they were trying to go for. I
Yeah,
get what they
there's
were
there's
doing.
like there's no cues to bring it back to anything like any point in reference. It's all. I mean, it's all been like one continuous take because it's like such a blur. When it's all said and done, it's all very homogenized and very vanilla.
Very much so. I don't know what else there's there to talk about with the green slime.
Would it be worth as a remake?
Um, it's you know what? I'm just gonna let me put on my Hollywood executive hat here. Would it work as a remake? Well, first off, Bob, we're going to have to take this film and we're going to have to go dark and gritty with it. And no one, say what you will about 2020 cinema, but dark and gritty is where it's at. The problem
But that
is,
would actually work in this particular case. Dark and gritty would work fantastically for this movie.
the problem with this movie is that if you remade it and you did it dark and gritty, people would see it as a knockoff of Alien. If you were to try and do green slime, essentially people would just go, "Well, it's Alien on a space station," because that's pretty much what it is. The
What
only
went the other, what went the other direction and did like we were hoping it to be a straight up camp film.
if you went straight up camp, you could get away with that, but that would probably be your best route on this one. I don't know that. I guess I don't see the point in it. I mean,
It's just the reason I say it is because like you said, you got all these good people, you got all this cred behind this film, and yet it kind of falls flat.
it does.
Like I said, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just there.
It, yeah, precisely. Could you do it? Yeah. Is it worth doing? No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, like, for the money that it would take to remake this film, even as a campy movie, or to do it as a straight up horror flick, anything like that at all, you could invest in an original idea that would not get hammered on for coming off as a ripoff of a movie that's 40 years old now. So, say what you will about it. Again, I love Alien. I don't mind this movie. I didn't hate watching it. I didn't feel like I was getting dental work done. I grew this sweet ass mustache so we could talk about this in the correct light. I needed it, I wanted it to be cheesier than it was, but the window of opportunity for this film to be anything more than a footnote, it's gone. That ship has sailed. Seriously, this movie, go watch Galaxy of Terror. It covers a lot of the same ground. It's a Roger Corman film. It was definitely a B flick, but it was done after Alien, and it's infinitely watchable. It's played straight. It has Aaron Moran from Happy Days fame in it. It's got Enlin, who was Freddy Krueger. It's got like this cast of all these people. You'll recognize everybody that's in it. It's beautiful. It's well done. It's well executed. It covers a lot of the same kind of ground that this movie does, but it does it right. They got the great thing about Galaxy of Terror is they got mood correct on that. It is shot dark. It is shot moody. It is kind of creepy and scary looking. It's really well handled. It's rated R, and don't even think of putting your kids in there because as messed up as Alien is, uh, for Galaxy of Terror, they knew what they were making and they amped it up to 9. So yeah, don't watch that one with the kids unless you don't mind them seeing gratuitous boobies, and then go for it. Watch it with your kids. Enjoy. Talk about it afterwards.
Which would you rather watch, this or First Man in Space?
Oh, you know, I would rewatch if it. I would rather rewatch this than First Man in Space. Just because First Man in Space, there's just so nothing going on in that movie. I mean, there's a lot of chit chat and talking, but like plot wise, it's not there. This at least has some interesting moments, and visually, it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel insulting. And again, if I was going to watch like Godzilla and Gamera or Mecha Godzilla or King Kong, all those campy Toei, I don't remember
Toho.
which. If I was going to watch any of those kind of,
This is Toei. This is Toei. I mean, it's all the same. All the Japanese stuff that era all looks exactly alike, and it's the same feel and tone, as you can tell from watching this movie.
Yeah, I mean, but this one has kind of a charm to it. So this one's more forgivable, I think, than First Man in Space. First Man in Space.
I'm kind of opposite. I don't think I could recommend First Man in Space more, but I think I look back more fondly of First Man in the Space than I think I will this one. I think because
this one was
because the level of disappointment with this one. When you go into expect it to be something and you don't get that. Going to First Man in Space, we had no clue what the fuck it was, and then so it's like, oh, now we know where we got the thing from, and this, we're like, oh man, we got. all this cool stuff. I got all this cheese and camp, and I got none of it. So I'm gonna forget this one in like no time.
Oh,
Other than green slime, the
well, I
sound,
was
the
gonna say
song.
you're never getting that theme music out of your head. You should just get over that one. It is there forever. So, anything else you want to say about green slime?
No, no,
No.
no.
What are we watching next?
Next, we're going to watch 1114, an anthology movie with Rachel Lee Cook, Patrick Swayze, and Barbara Hershey. And there's a ton of people in that cast that got their beginnings in there. You'll totally recognize them when I read the cast off. Great movie. I think you're going to enjoy it.
I have never seen this movie. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Peace.
See you next time.
Open the door, you'll find the secret. To find the answer is to keep it. You'll believe it when you find